All right. Can everyone hear me? Perfect. All right. So, welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Because I know a few of you are still trying to settle down, and I'm sure we have a couple people walking down from parking. I want to welcome you all here and welcome everyone who's joining in on our live chat because we do live stream these to YouTube and Twitch. So, if you're ever not able to make it here, or it's just a really cloudy day wherever you are, you can always join us there and say hi in chat because I do monitor that in both my tiny handheld internet and my larger desk based internet. That being said, do check us out on our website, uacnj.org. That's where you're going to find a list of all our talks, all our member clubs, and all the fun science and astronomy topics that we do cover here. You can also check us out on our socials. We have Facebook, Instagram, the social media that changes its name, as well as a Discord channel, and I think that's it for social media. I'm sure someone will jump in and say, "Hey Kim, you forgot something." Right. So for the people here, the safety briefing. If you need to use the bathroom, it is the porta potty to the back to my left, which makes it your right. You also have a little gift shop and museum area that I'll be manning after the presentation. So if you want to check out our meteorite display or anything like that, you can head on in there. When you go to leave tonight, we are using our headlights because we like getting not run over. And in order to do that, you need to see where we are. If you have any flashlights or whatnot when you're wandering around because you want to make sure you're not accidentally stepping in a hole or off a rock, I've been there, done that. Do keep those flashlights pointed towards the ground so we don't accidentally blind anyone that we don't need to. There haven't been really any instances where we need to blind people, so let's just avoid that entirely. With that, after our presentation, after Lonny finishes his presentation, we will have a question and answer session, at which point you guys and our online chat will be able to get all your questions answered. So with that, tonight's presentation is What's Up in the September Sky with Lonny. Lonny Buinis has been doing this for
forever.
So many years. I forget how many, but it's a lot. But it's basically since UACNJ has been going. He has 2 degrees from Stevens Institute of Technology in physics and computer science, but also believes in practical knowledge being sometimes more useful or equally as useful. The best thing Lonny has done is to marry his narrator, Jan Buinis, who narrated his Space History Mysteries Solved, which contains 2 movies, and you can interact with the digital planets.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I'm like, the moon. Is it the moon or is it the planets?
Moon and planet.
Which you can scroll in and see all the fun information he has on that, which he'll shamelessly promote later. But we love him anyway. Anyhow, here's Lonny.
Oh, thank you very much, Kim. Oh, thank you. And I've done nothing yet. This is great. Okay, good night, folks. Oh, no. All right, so we're here to find out what's up in September. We do this every first Saturday of the month. So next month we'll be doing, let's see if we can get the audience involved. What's up in the, whoa, great, October sky, correct. And then when it's too cold, November through March, we will do that virtually. You can tune in and see me bloviate. Look up the word bloviate. Yes, very good. What's up in September? This is some of what we're going to see, and I'm going to use interactive computer programs that you can use as well. Right here, this is a screen capture from one of those computer programs. If you look straight up, all the way up to the top of the sky, that's called the zenith, you would look for a letter Z, right? In the real sky, right? No. It's a trick question. There will be several trick questions tonight, so I'm going to be seeing if you're paying attention. You look straight up and you'll be close at about 9 o'clock at night to the bright star Vega or Vega, one of the brightest stars. That's right, we're on Earth. And right next to Vega is the Harp, a constellation. We're going to be seeing constellations tonight. Nearby, Hercules. So this is some of what's up in the sky, but there's a lot to see. I'm going to start with an actual event that happened on this day. It was the birth date of Krista McAuliffe, an astronaut who died in a disaster, a tragedy, on board a space shuttle. And that was back in 1986. She was born this day, September 2nd. I like to get my events that I'm telling you about from an easy-to-remember website called Go-Astronomy. Go Astronomy, with a dash in between. You check their calendar, it'll show you the entire year, but I'm going to zero in on, you guessed it, September, where we have two important phases of the moon. Anybody been watching the moon lately? That's right. But there's a time you can't see the moon when it's new. September 15th is the middle of the month. This is going to be a great time to see faint objects. Why is it great to see faint objects with no interference from the moon? Well, it's great because the moon isn't there. The moon's in the daytime sky, right? The absolute worst time to see faint objects is the end of the month when we have a full moon that's also a super moon. Anybody ever hear about the super moon? A few people? Yeah, you know what's special about the super moon is it's a little closer to Earth than normal. Here's a new moon. Let's take a look at these. New moon on the 15th of the month, September 15th. You can pick your time and date in this computer program called Stellarium. There is the moon and there is the sun. So when you're looking in the daytime sky and the moon is near the sun, can you see it? No. Nope, you can see it here in the computer program. In the real sky, it's too close, the sun's too bright. So what's all the fuss about a supermoon? The moon goes around the Earth, but it doesn't do it in a circle. Did you know this? It's slightly squashed like an egg, but so slight that you can't even really tell. Here they actually drew a picture. The actual orbit of the moon is a slightly squashed circle, the solid circle, which means that sometimes the moon is closer to the Earth, perigee, than other times when it's away, apogee. And the way I remember it is A, apogee for away, and P stands for pretty close. So when the moon is close and it's full, you get a supermoon. But there's the difference. So can you really tell, when you look at a supermoon in the sky, are you going to really see a big difference between a regular moon and the supermoon? Nope. And it's slightly brighter. But can you tell? Not really. It's very difficult. But just fun to know. That's the end of the month. If you go to a website called Moon Giant, pardon me, moongiant.com, you can see the phases of the moon. You can get a calendar of all the lunar events and phases. Lots of stuff there. The important ones, the important phases of the moon are, like we saw, new, full, and then when half of the moon is lit up, it's called a quarter. That's kind of weird. Why don't they call it last half and first half? Well, think about that. There's another side of the moon we don't see. It's called, in the scientific terminology, there's going to be a lot of this tonight, take notes, it's called the other side of the moon. The other side of the moon faces away from us at all times, because as the moon goes around the Earth, it spins the same time, same amount of time that it takes to go around, to revolve. 27 1/3 days around, 27 1/3 days to spin. When we time it by the sun, it's 29 1/2. On the calendar, it's 30 31, 28, take your pick. The calendars got all messed up by the Roman emperors. But the real calendar time that we use is the time by the sun, and that's 29 and a half days. So let's look at all of them. Most important phases, last quarter moon. If you want to get up nice and early in the morning as the sun rises, anybody have to get up when the sun rises? Some of us work early. You do. Wow. Young person. Nobody else gets up 5 in the morning, 6? Ah. All right, then look on the 6th, and you'll see the last quarter moon. Great time to see details on the moon with binoculars or telescope. New moon, we said already, great time to see faint stuff because there's no moonlight. First quarter moon on the 22nd, when the sun is setting in the west. Jenny jump, west is that way. You'll see the first quarter moon due south. And finally, full moon, worst time to see anything except the moon and some planets and some bright stars. You can get a calendar like this where? Moongiant.com. I'm not an advertisement for Moon Giant, by the way. So there's the last quarter moon facing the rising sun. And when you're facing south, west is to the right. Sun lights up the moon on the right. You can see details. This is the best time to see shadow details on the moon during the quarter phase. But can you see craters and shadows on the moon other times? Yes. Crescent, gibbous, quarter. This phase right there is called gibbous, when it's not quite full. The moon has names. Did you know the full moon all has names? What is it this month? You've heard of it. Harvest moon, yeah. Or the full corn moon, good time to plant, a good time to collect your harvest because the moon is so bright, especially the supermoon, that you can see at night to gather up plants. Our ancestors did that. Last month's names, this month's names. There are other names too. Look them up. I got these from Wikipedia, my favorite free encyclopedia. After the middle of the month, when the moon is new, it's a good time to look for the planet Neptune, number 8. 8th major planet, the last of the major planets. Neptune is at opposition from the word opposite. What does that mean? That means that the sun, the Earth in its tiny little orbit, right there, you can barely see it, and the planet Neptune in its big orbit, 30 times the size of Earth's orbit, are lined up in a straight line. Sun, Earth, Neptune. Neptune is its closest it's going to be to the Earth for a while. And that means it's nice and bright as it'll be, and right due south at night, visible all night long. And where is it? It's in the stars of the fishes, which is a sign of the zodiac. Some of you know which one that is. Pisces. Very good, thank you. There is no penalty for audience participation. This gentleman right here is very bold. The rest of you don't have to be so timid. See a lot of people, very timid people in the back. Don't be. Neptune is in Pisces. Does it mean that it's right next to those stars? That's an astrological term, in. No. It means that it's among the stars of the constellation, but nowhere near. Light from Neptune takes about 4 hours to reach us. Light is slow. Light's very slow. It could circle the Earth 7 times in a second, but it's pretty slow compared to the size of the solar system. The stars are so far away, it takes light years to get to us. You've heard the expression light year? 1 light year is 6 trillion miles. 6 followed by 12 zeros. Can everybody in the back hear me okay? Can you hear me? Good. So if we want to see Neptune, what does it look like? You need a telescope, right? That's what it might look like in a small telescope for the people in the back. And for the people in front, that's what it looks like in a big telescope, right? Because I am aware that for some of you the screen looks a little smaller. That's a very bright object, and you can see it in the small telescope. It's the big moon Triton, which we now think could have an ocean inside it. Triton, big moon of Neptune. And where there is ocean, we might find life. This is a new location to look for life. Very exciting. I used Celestia, free program, to draw the picture of the orbits of Neptune. You can get this for free, and I'm going to mention this later. Mercury, innermost planet. You got the 8 major planets, right? Mercury is the first, Neptune is the last. This month, on the 22nd, is a good time to see our innermost small planet. Bigger than our moon, but and kind of cratered like the moon, but hard to see because it's so close to the sun. Greatest distance the west of the sun. What does that mean? Well, if I face south, west is to the right. So if Mercury is to the right of the sun, what time of day am I going to see it? If the sun is over there setting and Mercury is to the right, where is it? It's under the earth. You can't see it. You got to go look in the morning sky. And that's what Mercury looks like here at UACNJ, which I pronounce Uwaknij. Repeat after me, Uwaknij. I didn't hear everybody. Uwaknij. UACNJ. That's where you are now. That's what Mercury looks like on September 23rd at 6:15 in the morning. Nice and high above the buildings, not far from the bright planet Venus, west of the sun. Big day this month. Biggest of all the days is the equinox. Equal, nox, night. Equal days and nights, right? And that is the first day of what? Fall, the first astronomical day of fall. Equinox, 6:43 in London, -4 hours. 6 minus 4 is 2:43 in the morning. 2:43 in the morning, where are we going to look for the sun? It's not up. So I waited until 9:43 in the morning, and I see that the sun is a little past the place where the Earth's equator intersects the Earth's orbit if I draw them out into space. The orbit of the Earth into space is where the sun is. The path of the sun through the sky goes through 13 constellations. Not 12, 13 nowadays. Do you know what we call those constellations? The signs of the zodiac. Yep, and the sun is just past the intersection point. It'll be right there, 2:43 in the morning, crossing the equator, which means days and nights are equal all over the Earth. So now that I've completely bored everybody with a bunch of still pictures that you could get anywhere, any place, how about we do this interactively? I'm going to run a program called Stellarium, if I could see it. It's dark. And this is what you can use to see stars. These are a pair of binoculars that my wife got me. I tried them out on our dog, and they got the seal of approval. Yay! So there is Stellarium simulating the sky that we would see tonight if there were no clouds in the sky. I can zoom in and zoom out. I can make Stellarium look like one of the star maps that we sell, advertisement, in our gift shop over there, a planisphere. I can zoom in until the stars are really big the way they look in the real sky. Whee! Do you recognize these 7 stars? They're not planets, they're stars, and they make something called the Big Dipper. Yep, part of Ursa Major, the bear. You see the bear? How about, whoops, how about now? See the bear? Yeah, you can put up pictures from different cultures all over the earth in Stellarium. Not just ancient Greek mythology, but all kinds from all over the earth. Very cool. Let's make it harder. I'm going to leave up the lines the way you see them on a star map. If you want to find north, you can use the Big Dipper's pointer stars, 5 times their distance apart. If you hold up your fist, make a fist, hold it up at arm's length, that's about 5 degrees of angle. The whole sky is 360. Your fist is about 5. Go about 5 times that distance apart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll find the North Star Polaris. That's where the Earth's North Pole points. If I were to spin in a circle, right, like this, then I have an imaginary line going from my feet to my head, pointing into the sky. That's an axis. The Earth has an axis that points to Polaris. It also points to the south. Do they have a South Star like we have a North Star? No, that's right, they don't. We're pretty lucky. We've got the North Star on the end of a Little Dipper. Do you know what we call this? How did you know? Yeah, Little Dipper is also Ursa Minor. Ursa, bear, minor, little. Bear, little. These constellations never rise or set. They just spin around the North Pole. The Little Dipper, the Big Dipper, the Queen, who looks like a letter W, the King, who looks like a house upside down, and the Dragon, who looks like a dragon. Maybe. You like the dragon? Draco. Draco, Cepheus, Cassiopeia, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major. These constellations never rise or set. They just spin round and round. The further away you go, south or east or west, away from north, the stars will rise and set. And the stars that rise and set that are hardest to see are the ones in the south. This time of year, it's very difficult. These constellations are going to be disappearing very soon. So the best time to see them is July and August. They are the Scorpion and the Teapot. Do you see them? Scorpius. Scorpius is affiliated with, that's the astronomical sign. Scorpio is the astrological sign. And Sagittarius. This kind of looks like a scorpion. There's the stinger. This is supposed to be half man, half horse, holding a bow and arrow. See it? Yay! All right, now, see it? I don't know about you. I see a spout, a lid, and a handle, and we amateur astronomers call it the teapot. I am not a professional astronomer. I don't do this for money. I do it because I love to, and that makes me an amateur astronomer, just like all the people who are running Jenny Jump and the observatories here for free for you. So do take advantage. Go and ask them a lot of questions when I'm done. They love it. They do not love it when you kick their telescope, however. So if you want to see an astronomer cry, please don't kick the telescope. Be very careful. This time of year, also coming out of the teapot is steam. If I look at the sky later when it's darker, this is 8:23. How about 9 o'clock at night, 9:23? Things are a bit darker, less haze. There's steam coming out of the teapot. What's this? Yes, the Milky Way. Native Americans thought it was a river of milk knocked over by a dog who knocked aside some pails of milk. Yep, that's our Milky Way galaxy, which is shaped flat like a pancake. So we see it as a thin line because we're on the inside. It's made of 1 trillion stars. 1 trillion stars. That's 1 with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 12 zeros. It's a lot. That's 1,000 billion. And this is one of the best times of the year to see the Milky Way at Jenny Jump, at UACNJ. You go out, you look south, and move your head over the entire sky over north. It's one of the only places you can do it in New Jersey. In July and August especially. It'll be setting lower and lower September, October, but you can do it now. Pardon me. The sun, the moon, and the planets all pass through this area of the sky, and I can show you that by making a marking called the ecliptic. The one that I mentioned before is the path of the sun and moon, and the stars that line up there are called the signs of the zodiac. The scales, the scorpion, the centaur, or the archer, Sagittarius. Capricornus, the sea goat, looks just like a goat, right? No? Don't see it? Sea goat, half fish. How many of these have you seen lately? Anybody been to the shore? Half goat, half fish? No one? All right. Our ancestors had very good imaginations. And then Aquarius, the water carrier, with a very bright star. Don't miss it. It's not a star. It doesn't twinkle like a star. It is a planet. It's the planet with the ring. Saturn is right. In small telescopes, you can barely make out the rings, just as Galileo did. In the year 1610, Galileo said, Saturn has ears. His telescope was not good enough to tell it was a ring. But later discoverers, later observers saw the rings. They saw a gap in the rings called Cassini's division, named after the observer Cassini. There are more gaps. There is Encke's gap. And now we know that Saturn has thousands of rings made of billions of particles, tiny moonlets. It probably was a moon that broke up millions of years ago, but not too long ago, because otherwise the rings would have disappeared by now. The rings are wide open now. We're lucky to see them. A few years ago and a few years from now, they're going to disappear. What if we look at Saturn the same time every night, the same month, the same day, the same time, but different years? Watch what I do. 2023, 2022, 21, 20, 19. Look at that. The rings of Saturn change. They're open and closed and open and closed. They rock back and forth very slowly. Why? Because Saturn goes around the sun too, and it's tipped too at 29 degrees to its orbit. It's tipped like the Earth is tipped 23.44, Captain, said Mr. Spock. What if we go forward? 2021, 2022, 23, 24. Look at that. The rings of Saturn get very thin. In fact, between this year and next, they will disappear from view. They'll still be there, but we can't see them because they're so thin. Even though they are 170,000 miles across, something like 12 or 13 Earths. That's right. Earth could fit 9 times across the globe of Saturn. 9 Earths. Even though they're 170,000 miles wide, they're only 30 feet thick. 30 feet. Incredibly thin. You can't make a scale model accurate enough to show how thin. Let's go back 2023. And that's what Saturn looks like tonight. And you would have seen it if there were no clouds. I'm looking right now. Unfortunately, there are clouds where Saturn is rising in the east. How do I know my directions? Well, I go outside and I look for the letter E, correct? No. Boy, you guys will believe anything I say, right? Can you? Well, thank you. I have a young man who believes everything I say. I'm very appreciative, but I don't want you to believe everything I say. I'd like you to think it for yourselves. Check my facts. Go out, see if you can see what I see. You can turn on the cardinal points, the directions for yourself, and you can turn them off. You can make the sky as challenging as you want to see, because when you go out to look for the signs of the zodiac, are you going to see a red line? Nope. You're going to see the names? Nope. You're going to see little marks for planets? No. But you can get a lot of information. Now, to finish up, I'm going to look in 2 different places. I'm going to look this time of the year in September. Look straight up straight up. As we saw before in my opening picture, the bright star Vega is part of a triangle of 3 bright stars from 3 separate constellations that you see in the summer. So you guys are never going to guess what we amateur astronomers call it. Triangle of 3 bright summer stars is the right summer triangle. Right. And do you see the 3 stars? Vega, Deneb, Altair, Lyra the harp, Cygnus the swan, Aquila the eagle. Do they look like those? I don't know. The swan, kinda, right? It's got wings. You see the head, the neck? Should we cheat? My favorite star, double star to see in the summer, is the head of the swan. It's called Alberio Beta Cygni, right? The stars are labeled by Greek letters. Alpha is brightest, beta is second brightest, and so forth. A double star. Why is it a double star? Because some stars, very many stars, are born together. They're held together by gravity, and they orbit each other in circles, just like the moon orbits the Earth. Did you know that the moon doesn't orbit the center of the Earth? It orbits a little bit off-center. Did you know that Pluto doesn't orbit in a perfect circle? It's with its big moon Charon, the two of them go around like a dumbbell. There's a common center they go around. This is one of the most beautiful stars in the sky. In the real sky, not in stellarium, these stars have the most brilliant color contrast of any double I've ever seen. Brilliant cyan, a green-blue, and a golden orange. So ask the amateur astronomers here to show you Alberio in the Swan, famous double star. There's lots to see in this part of the sky. Actually, right nearby, there is something that Sagittarius shoots out of his bow. Sagitta, the arrow. And right near Sagitta, the arrow, is a little grouping, pardon me, of stars that don't look like what they're supposed to because I turned off some of the brightness of stars. I can fix that. More stars. Something you find in a coat closet, upside down. Coat hanger. That's not a constellation. It's an asterism, just like the Big Dipper is an asterism. There are as many official constellations as keys on a piano, so I want all of you to ask any piano players in the audience, how many keys on a piano? That's the same number as constellations. That's the coat hanger. You can see it in the summer sky. You can see it still in September, even though we have the beginning of autumn. Right nearby is a constellation I mentioned in previous What's Up talks, and it's a guy whose name is spelled with the letter H. See the letter H? Hercules. I'm going to end by giving you a preview of the eastern sky. Tonight we have all the way down low in the east, we have a bright object that kind of spoils it if you're looking for faint objects. It's now in a gibbous phase, and it is that's what the moon looks like right now, coming up low in the trees here at Jenny Jump. The moon is in Pisces, the fishes, nowhere near those stars, but in front of them. And what I want you to look for next month in What's Up in the October, thank you, sky, is a constellation that's so big that in real life I can't even fit it into stellarium. I have to move from side to side to see the whole thing. Just like I do when I look in the real sky, I have to move my head to see an upside down half of a flying horse called, thank you, Pegasus. Pegasus got chopped in half to make Andromeda the princess. And Andromeda helps us find the most distant thing in the universe that you can see with your naked eye. We amateur astronomers have a special scientific name for the most basic equipment you could use. It's the what? I didn't hear the shy people in the back. What is it? Naked eye. Thank you very much. With the naked eye, you can see the Andromeda galaxy. You don't need a telescope. You don't even need binoculars. On a clear, dark night, find the horse Pegasus. Go over from this star, 2 stars down and 2 stars up. Look for a little letter Y. Look for a fuzzy blob. Several times the size of the full moon. It's what our Milky Way would look like from the outside. In a small telescope, it would look like this with 2 little satellites, 2 little galaxies. In bigger and bigger telescopes, we would see gas glowing blue from reflected starlight, the young stars. The galaxy Andromeda, M31. Old stars are red in the center. What's all this dark stuff that looks like dust? What is that? It's called dust. Yeah, very good. The Milky Way, our galaxy, also has 2 little galaxies going around it, just like Andromeda does. In fact, they passed through us millions of years ago. Anybody ever see them? Well, you can't see them from New Jersey, but even though you were born not long ago, you could see them if you went to South America or South Africa or Australia. They're called the Clouds of Magellan. And this is what they'd look like from 2.5 million light years away. This is the way Andromeda looked 2.5 million years ago. Is it still there? Yes, yeah, it's still there, because Andromeda and the Milky Way are 10 billion years old. 10,000 million. The light left 2.5 million. So 2.5 out of 10,000, that's nothing. The Andromeda. Check it out. I'll be talking more about that next month in What's Up in October. We've seen quite a bit here. Could be confusing, so I'm going to do a quick review. Look in the west for the stars that are disappearing. Find the Big Dipper's handle and arc to Arcturus. Arcturus. Bright star. It's kind of yellowish in color. That's a springtime star. Go over from west to south and don't miss Scorpius the Scorpion. Sagittarius the Teapot. Teapot or Centaur or Archer. Take your pick. High above, here's the 13th sign of the zodiac, the Serpent Carrier. Ophiuchus the Serpent Carrier. Yep, he's holding the serpent. See him? The planets actually move through that now. They did not thousands of years ago when astrology got started. Look for the Milky Way, best time of the year to do it. Going right through the Eagle and right through the Swan and over all the way to the north. Beautiful time of year to see it. And then come on back. I'll talk more about the stars of October in What's Up in October. We have time for questions later. I can always bring this back. So right now I'm going to go right back and we're going to finish up with how do we look at the sky? What do we do to see the sky? Well, we don't need to buy fancy equipment. We do sell some things here, little telescopes. You could use binoculars. These are very low power. You can wear them. You can look up references on how to get started looking at the sky from Sky and Telescope magazine or astronomy. They're in print. They're online. Large parts of their websites are free, or you can subscribe. We have United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Repeat after me, UACNIJ. Did you hear you? UACNIJ. Thank you. .org. You can get stellarium.org. You can download it. You can just use their website. You can get the mobile app that's free. This is all free. and you can do it on your own equipment. Celestia lets you fly into space. That's really cool. And I got some news before we end. Most comets nowadays are discovered by machines, by satellites, by arrays of telescopes on the Earth, by computers. This guy did it first. Nishimura, Japanese astronomer. And there's an actual picture of the comet on the bottom. See it? And here's where you find it right now. It's in the constellation Leo, which is hard to see because that's a spring constellation. So you got to go out and look for the backwards question mark. And right near the top of the question mark at 5:30 in the morning. Anybody volunteers? 5:30? I'll meet you here. No, I won't. I'll be sleeping. But I have a bold volunteer. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am. Can't see. It's very dark. You were going to look right there where the circle is. Can you see the comet? No, because Stellarium didn't have the comet in there. You're going to look for Leo, and that's where you'll find it. If you get a free program for your smartphone or tablet, like Skyview or any one of 24, they're free. You can hold your phone or mobile device up, and it'll show you where the comet is. Makes it a lot easier. Very exciting times we live in. A comet that may become bright and naked eye visible. Quick review: new moon, full moon, Neptune, middle of the month, Mercury, middle of the month. Good time to see them. And don't forget the first day of fall. Here's how you can find me. Go to astronomyinmotion.com. You can play with free three-dimensional planets that you can work with your fingers or a joystick or a laptop or any device, and it kind of looks like this. You can move it around in 3D. That's Mars. You can see videos when you click on the red dots. You can zoom in for incredible details. And that's Mars at your fingertips. Astronomy in motion, Mars at your fingertips. Let's get back to finish up here. Whoops. And I'm at Lonny Buinis at Gmail. I want to thank you for being such a good audience. Come on back. You can find us everywhere. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Lonny. Thank you all, you guys who have come here and joined us in chat. So, before we get into our question and answer session, I saw a few of you sneaking in, which means you have not gotten the safety briefing. And of course, no one can escape that. So, with that, if you need to use the bathroom, it is the porta potty in the back to my left and your right. I also have a little museum and gift shop area you can check out. I'll be manning the gift shop desk as soon as we're done with the question and answer session. When you leave here, we are using our headlights because it is important not to run people over, and the big portion of doing that is being able to see people. We appreciate you not running people over. However, if you're wandering around and you're trying to, find the keys you dropped or just want to make sure you're not stepping off a random rock into a hole, keep those flashlights pointed downward because we don't need to accidentally blind people with the LED flashlight. I've had it happen, and it's part of the reason why I now need, when we do question and answer, for people to put their hands up here and wave them in their air like they just don't care, because everyone is kind of an amorphous human blob shape because I have no night vision. So, how question and answer is going to work for the people here, you're just going to put your hand up, like I said, wave it around and kind of keep it up and waving until I get to you when I call for a question, because otherwise you'd kind of disappear. Like I said, I've been staring at the screen, looking at online chat. And also a reminder, we are in a state park, so all leashing, smoking, and carry out rules for trash do apply. So I thank you for that consideration. To start it off, I'm going to start off with our first online question, which is, what happened to all the stars over here on this door?
Oh.
A couple of you who have been here a couple times usually know I used to have stars all over there. Well, I was starting to run out of room where I could put stars because the pins don't stick well into insulation foam. So I finally got someone to put up a nice board, and we put a fresh coat of paint on it, and it's still wet. So in order not to just cover the stars in wet, sticky paint, I have them safely stored until that can dry. I hope, like any good astronomy organization, we just needed more space. All right, so that brings us to our first question here. Ooh, perfect.
What are Saturn's rings made of?
Excellent question. That's what are Saturn's rings made of? Mostly icy particles, some water ice, some frozen gases like ammonia, methane, and some dirt. Very basic ingredients. They're each a little mini moon, and they do some very weird things. As other moons go near them, there are actually bigger particles inside amongst the smaller. It actually makes them go in waves. They actually recorded that by a space probe that went there.
I didn't take my own advice, and now I've brushed against the wet paint door.
Oh no.
All right, so our next online question is, can you guys see Neptune through a scope at UACNJ?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, Neptune is at opposition, visible just about the whole night. It's a little bit low, so again, any constellation that's that low in the sky is not going to spend all year visible, but now is a good time to see it. By now, I mean this month. I don't mean right now because we have clouds.
Yeah, unfortunately, those farther planets out, Neptune, do require a pretty clear night, and it is not pretty clear. We do have a couple of bright stars. Ironically, when you were going over the summer triangle, as Paul is pointing out there with his laser pointer in the sky, those are about the only 3 stars I can see without my distance glasses.
I just saw Vega.
So, is there another question out here in the audience? And just hold on until I can get to you with the microphone.
Hey, so you hear me? Am I talking? All right. So my question is, you showed us where the zodiac signs were in the moon. So I was wondering, where's the Libra? Where can I look? Like, what direction can I look up to see the Libra? I know
Very
you said
good.
come next month, but I'm kind of interested to know.
Sure, the question is where can you find Libra? Libra is the scales or balances. You may have seen old-fashioned ways that weights are done. Two pans on wires, and you compare one weight against another, and they do this, rock back and forth. So Libra was made out of the scorpion's claws. You look to the right of the scorpion, they cut that off, and you'll see 4 stars. That's just about all the bright stars there are in Libra. To the right of the scorpion, and just a few degrees to the right. Can't miss it. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I see a question right in
Yep, we
front.
got a question right up front.
Where could I look for Mars?
Mars. Mars is not visible until the morning sky. We have to wait because as the Earth goes around the sun's going to seem to go through every part of the sky, especially where Mars is right now. So if you wait a few more months, I'll be talking about Mars in the evening sky. Can you come back? Oh boy, great. I see another question right there.
Ooh, perfect. Hold on. Let me hop this.
Good questions all.
So, how can we see Jupiter in the sky?
How can we
When can we see Jupiter in the sky?
Jupiter was visible recently. It's a little bit too close to the sun now, but if we wait, it will be coming up later. It'll be coming up earlier and earlier in the evening sky through the winter months. I'll be talking about that if you tune in to UACNJ's broadcast. I'm not sure what to call it.
Yep, we live streamed these, like I said, on YouTube and Twitch. You can get links to those on our social media pages as well as our website.
So what's up in October, November, December, January? I'll be talking about those.
So our next online question is, did you ever find out if during our wobble where Earth will get a new North Pole star, will we get a South Pole star? I do vaguely recall that question
You
from
know,
last time.
You asked the question last time. I didn't do the research. I didn't do the homework. Oy. Yeah, so that's number one on my list. We probably will.
No homework
Yeah,
star
I
for
got
you.
enough. I got enough. But I will find out which bright star will be and when, because actually you can do it too. If you go in Celestia and look at that area of the sky, you can just run forward in time faster and faster, as fast as you want, in increments of 10. So 10, 100, 1,000, a million, 10 million, a billion. Although that's too fast.
All right, I see another question.
Yeah. So there are some telescopes here. So are those something which we can look through or?
Yeah, the telescopes here in the 6 observatories are here for public use, although some of them are research quality. So when the sky is clear, we open them up. You can either look through the telescope or you can see a projection, our new way of doing it. We project the image from the scope on the side of the observatory. And if you like...
So
good.
we do...
there are lots of clouds in the sky, and it'll be hit or miss. They will try to show you some objects tonight, but the sky looks very iffy at this point. So whether or not you can see something in the telescope tonight is very iffy at the moment. Thank you, Paul. Now, does that mean we give up? No. Nick, there's another night, tomorrow night, and the night after, and the week after, and the month. You just keep doing it. Keep going out. Keep trying. Keep looking up.
Right. So another question from guys out here. Is that one in the back I see? Okay. Again, I'm kind of night blind, so sorry about that.
Help prevent Kim from tripping.
Sorry, avoiding people.
Does Jupiter have a solid surface?
Oh, that's a great question. Does Jupiter have a solid surface? I actually read an article recently where they're trying to learn a lot more about what's in the interior of the planets and moons. And with some of the flyby missions, we are learning more. There may be a weird kind of solid or semi-solid hydrogen at the core of Jupiter, very far down. Hydrogen, the main gas making up Jupiter is hydrogen, some helium, not much, some methane and ammonia. But down at the core, it would be mostly a metallic hydrogen, which we could never see on Earth. It requires immense pressures and temperatures. Good question.
On my way back here, I also was told there was another question all the way back here.
Well, one addendum.
Perfect.
At one point, it was thought that there might be a solid diamond in the core of Jupiter, in the core of giant planets.
All right, our next question.
Is there any particular reason why certain stars were chosen for particular constellations?
Any particular reason why certain stars were chosen for any particular constellation? And the short answer is no. Completely random. Different cultures see things very differently. And they also see different characters in the same stars. For instance, Orion we now see, or we take from the Greek legends, as a mighty male hunter. That was a prime female figure in the matriarchal societies predating the ancient Greeks and Romans. And then that got changed over. Other constellations are drawn completely differently. Native Americans drew things according to what they knew, like buffalo or arrows. So if you go in Stellarium and go to sky conditions, sky settings, you go to landscape, you can change, not landscape, I'm sorry, sky cultures. They have a couple dozen. So Native Americans, Europeans, Hopi, all kinds. Fascinating.
All right. So our next question is, how long before Saturn's rings open up again?
Oh, it takes Saturn about a little over 29 years to go around the sun once, which means there are 2 times when the rings line up edge on. 2 times, just like we have spring and fall, the times that our equator lines up, Saturn's rings line up twice. That's about 14 years. a little over 14 years. So from now, that will be, they're going to be very thin next year. Then they'll be fully open 14 years later. So 2024 plus 14 is
Math.
any arithmeticians. Now, I have a friend who gets really annoyed when people say do the math, because it's only arithmetic. Right, so what's 24 and 14? 38. 2038. Right, you'll all still be around, right? Right. Hi, ho.
All right. Do we have another question here? Again, hands up in the air and kind of wave it around like you just don't care. Oh, God, you put it down.
You could wave your cell phone.
I was wondering, are we going to be able to see, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Perseidus, the meteor shower tonight?
Oh, the Perseid meteor shower peak was August 13th. Some of them are left over through September, through part of September, so you might, not tonight, again, clouds interfere with everything. No matter how big a telescope you have, an optical telescope cannot see through clouds. Doesn't matter the size.
And even
But
then, a telescope is not what you should be using to watch for meteors.
right. Meteors, you want your naked eye, you want a nice comfortable chair, and you want bug spray, definitely bug spray. And you want to do that soon. It's the first clear night, and it's got to be as clear a night as you can possibly find. So you want to get away from city lights. But good question.
How do you see the Earth in outer space?
How can you see the Earth in outer space? You can, if you want to go to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration's website. This is a mouthful. You can see satellite pictures of what the Earth looks like from space, and they update. Yeah, you can see, or you could be an astronaut.
You're
Maybe
actually
you will
probably
be.
in the proper age group to start
Yes.
training.
You could be a future astronaut and see what the Earth looks like from a rocket. And in fact, they're making rockets now. They're taking people up on commercial rides, and the prices are coming down. So by the time you're ready, or an astronaut,
Slowly.
it might be cheap. That's right. Very.
All right. So our next online question is, isn't there a solar eclipse coming up in the beginning of October too?
Yeah, there's an eclipse I'm ignoring because it's an annular eclipse where the moon is so far from the Earth, remember, it's not a circle, that it doesn't cover the whole sun. You get a little annulus, a ring. Annulus is a ring. But there's a big one coming. Don't miss April 8th next year. Repeat after me. April 8th. Good. That's a total eclipse of the sun, and the track goes right through parts of New York State,
So
closest to us.
fun facts in addition. So the one in October, because I looked this up, Jenny Jump will be in around the 25% of coverage as far as coverage that the eclipse will have. And the April run, here at Jenny Jump will be in about the 90 to 95% coverage range. So we're pretty close to totality up here. So working on if we can get enough volunteers, perhaps we'll have an event, but I cannot guarantee anything. All right. Was there another question? Yep. 1 second.
Is there any meteor shower scheduled in next couple of months? Is there?
There, yeah. The question is a meteor shower next couple of months. Each month I look for minor showers. Those are very hard to see in the places we live. The next major shower is not until around Christmas. The Geminids from Gemini. So I'll talk about them in what's up in December. But I believe in October there may be a minor one, and I'll mention that every month. Yep, thank you.
Right. So we're coming down to the end of our online questions. If you are watching us online, do get those last minute questions in. I always like to give them a little heads up because they see us in the past. So by the time this gets them, we'll be through our next question, which is, And I had to ask for clarification for this question from my mom because she's the one who asked it. Sometimes things intersect our galaxy on a regular basis, as mentioned in the presentation. If it orbits, the galaxy or something in our solar system, why is it not considered a satellite?
If it orbits, all right, so I'm not sure which object.
So I think she's probably talking about like comets that have those really big orbits that take it out someplace and then comes back.
Right.
Why are they not considered satellites to whatever they orbit?
Well, they are satellites. Things like comets are satellites of the sun because they orbit the sun. Some objects come from interstellar space and they don't orbit the sun, they pass by, but that's much more rare. So everything that orbits the sun is considered part of the sun's family, and that goes out as far as a light year or so. It all depends on the sun's influence by gravity. Now, your mom mentioned the galaxy. We do have things orbiting the galaxy, and those are globular clusters of stars. And the satellites, like the Magellanic Clouds that went through our galaxy millions of years ago, they're going to go through again. It's just a very slow dance that takes hundreds of millions of years.
All right. Was there another question out here? I hear a lot of crickets. Bueller?
So everybody knows everything about what's up now, right? Good.
And even if you don't, like I said, we do keep the videos on YouTube, so you can go and check out the past presentations. And if you happen to have a question, you can hit us up in the comments on those YouTube past presentations, or you can always ask those questions through our contact info on our website, uacnj.org. With that, I want to thank you, Lonny, for another great presentation. I want to thank you guys both here and online, and have a good night.
Thank you all.